Hello, guys. Welcome back to a brand new episode about Bucephilandras and how to earn money with it. Money, as in not just for us, but for you as well. So, before wasting any kind of time, I'll just quickly explain what you exactly need as a prerequisite. This is a box that I bought from IKEA. It's a very sturdy one. If you see, it doesn't move. We will need a aquascaping kind of a safety gear. This comes normally to give a kind of a support to your stones or maybe a heavy driftwood, but this here is going to be an excellent one. But do not let this stop. You can open your creativity to have more such structures and maybe do the purpose of how you're going to use it. It's going to be a lid one, so this is how it's going to fit in. You will need a fertilizer. A good fertilizer always does an amazing job with your plant growth. And the last and the most important thing, of course, is Bucephalandra. How can you propagate anything without actually having it? So, before we move further, we'll just try to decode how a Bucephalandra looks like. Now, if you understand Bucephalandra, this is a very good piece of rhizome which has a kind of a good number of rhizomes to itself. Now, the basic idea behind propagating is from this we can at least find 3 or 4 rhizomes, independent ones, and what it needs to have is first it needs to have an epiphyte, it needs to have at least 2 or 3 roots, and it needs to have 2 or 3 leaves. Now, if I show you here this specific one, if I just pull the roots out, you can see here this is qualifying to become an active plant. So if you see here, this is my first rhizome. Similarly, I need to break it down into further ones. So now, basically from that one single plant, we could get as many as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different rhizomes. Now, the basic agenda that we have here is each of this plant should be self-growing, and the one initial that we saw, the huge clump one, each one of should grow into the clump and further will disintegrate into further rhizomes, and these keeps on multiplying. So in terms of boxes, we have huge, but obviously to start with, this is all that we have. The investment has been capped to 10,000. We are not gonna invest more than that, but we'll see how the results are gonna be. So this is the extra leaf that I'll just chip off. Now, what exactly we're going to do is you need to slide this roots under this mess so that it kind of holds back and it stays like this. So the roots will help in collecting the nutrients from the water, and it should be pretty much strong as well. Now, if you see, these are again the 2 roots. We'll do the same job for this. We'll slide it in. Now we need to ensure it should not be very closely stacked in, but at the same time it should not be very fast, very sparsely tagged in. Just give me a moment, it's taking a moment. So this is one more thing done, and so we'll plant others as well. So all the 6 plants have been planted here. Now basically I took help of a few rocks. These rocks are the very cheap, the pebbles one. This is just to make them and sit upright. Now basically the intention is the leaves should be pointing towards the light. So we'll be placing light bars over here once we cover the lid, and the roots should be submerged inside just to make sure that they don't fall in or the leaves don't get into the water. We have just pushed the roots to the water through the net, and then we are taking a support of these pebbles around to make it a more stable one. Now apart from this, we have now this beautiful looking Bucephalandra Catherine. Now we'll be doing the same routine for what we have done for this red sword. So now you can see again 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you have got 5 new Bucephalandra Catherine from the same single clump. Now each of these should grow up to a huge clump again, maybe in a matter of 6 months or 1 year. So obviously the time frame is pretty high, but this is kind of sitting on gold. So we'll do the same kind of routine for what we did for this one, and I'll be back once I finish this. So there you go. We have planted almost all our Bucephalandras. Now I'll just sprinkle a bit of water because it kind of it's my obsession. But now we are left with only the small ones. We'll try to fit in wherever it's open. So this is how it's gonna look like. We'll try to keep it as simple as possible. Now basically in these areas we'll try to use a bit of rocks or the pebbles that we have been using till now to kind of comfort it. So maybe something like this. Now you see the plant over here, this one. Now just to fit it in, I'll be using a few rocks and I'll just give it a gentle push and it stands perfectly the way I need it. I'll use two more just to be extra comforting. So now it sits well in, perfect. Now we'll do the same for the other Bucephalandras. So as we told in the initial phase, this is the RO water that we have. We'll just give 2 pumps, mix the fertilizers, and then we'll mix it in the water. So now that it's done, we'll try to just ensure anything that has gone loose, we'll just try to fix it. Now, there is a small tip to this. Now you see, this is basically the Bucephalandra flower. Normally we do not keep it as a practice that we want the plant to focus mostly on growing its leaves and be more and more stronger. But as of now, I'm just keeping the flower for maybe 2 or 3 days and then I'll just cut it off so that this plant can engage more and more in actually propagating rather than focusing on how to flower and all the stuff. So now that this part is done, this looks kind of pretty dry. I'll just run a dry check once to ensure that yes, it's dipped in water. Yes, of course it's dipped in water. So now that these are done, we'll be simply closing the lid. There will be a 8-watt light that will be going on the top. Now we can keep the light on for 5 to 6 hours, and just because these leaves are not inside water, we do not have the problem of BBA or any kind of algae, and we should be pretty confident that this should be giving us a kind of a good amount of Bucephalandra back. Now this is my first experiment in any such scenarios, so I hope for the best and let's see how it goes. In the other scenarios that I've tried is basically where we use soil or maybe we use some kind of you can say biomedia, but the problem with that is normally those soil tend to get cyanobacteria, sometimes they tend to get a BBA because that soil is too much exposed into water. But now that this is just plastic, now plastic cannot have that kind of strong algae, and the biggest advantage of this is every time you need to change the water, if you see there is a bit of algae inside, you just need to lift this, wipe off, and then place it back. So this way, you will have a never-ending Bucephalandra. Now, after 2 months, we will again try to disintegrate it into further new rhizomes, and maybe we'll have 2 or 3 more boxes for this Bucephalandras. Now, as a part of regime, this stays as it is for a week. Every single week, you open this, kind of fan a bit, just to ensure there is, new air, new CO2 in, and once you feel that okay, for a minute you have fanned it, just close it again, and you're good for 1 more week again. This is how you can propagate Bucephalandra. Now, I'll keep updating every 2 months on how they look like, and maybe we can have a very unending garden of Bucephalandra very soon. Thank you, and if you like the video, please do not fail to subscribe. For God's sake, please like and subscribe. Thank you and have a good day. Bye-bye.